everybody. 15th of February, and last night was the big celebration at the Yacht Club Punta Leste, and it was like pretty much a wow moment. Quite amazing. Maybe 450 people there in the club. Big celebration. The Commodore was there, not for long. He's had some issues, but it was just fantastic. It was food was off the planet, to say the least, and very well organised. Just quite an amazing night. Went on forever. Jane and I bailed out sort of, I don't know, before midnight anyway. And some of the others were there dancing way into the morning. But that's part of the course for everything here in Punta Leste. So that was kind of fun. So big day for the yacht club here. And in the midst of that, it was 0033 or 35 this morning. Explorer got around Cape Horn, and that's exciting for them. It's exciting for the OGR because that was the last boat round, and they're making good speed, being maintaining, so like 9.5 knots, roaring up around the corner and now breaking out into the South Atlantic. So quite happy to see all that happen, and it's part of an emotional release for all of the entrants. They've still got to struggle a bit to get north because they're still a long way south, and you can see that the weather's not over until you get like up around Punta here. Then you're out of the Southern Ocean to a degree, and everyone starts to relax. And certainly Penjuic are having fun being here. They're currently working on their boat a bit, cleaning out, sorting, drying, washing, all those sorts of things. But it's a very relaxed moment for everyone associated there. No new news from White Shadow regarding their forestay. They're plodding along. They're actually sailing quite well, all things considered. They've got a pretty reasonable breeze, so they're keeping up with it. And now the big issue is the ETA for Helsinki, Spirit of Helsinki, and also Maiden, which gets a bit tricky because there's light headwinds coming. They're certainly going a bit faster than I expected, but I think if all goes well, sometime very early tomorrow morning, we should see one or other cross the line first, but it's impossible to say which that will be right now. Interesting photo from the lighthouse keeper at Cape Horn, so thanks for that. A little bit of a blur and a smudge. It's on the Brian's report, his daily report today, which made me laugh a bit thinking about everything going on there. But anyway, that was quite cool. So what else is there to report? That's about it. Translated, you probably saw that. They've got the boat out of the water. They've got a distinct plan. I'm having a meeting with Marco very shortly, just to get their final plan on things and see what they're hoping to achieve. They need to be here about 4 days before the start to join the fleet on the 5th of March. So it's going to be fun to watch what's happening there. They're documenting it quite well. So you can keep up with that on their Facebook page. They're doing videos all the time and trying to keep everyone informed of progress and how they're doing it and what they're trying to achieve. And it's realistic. They're about a week or so from Falklands back up here to Punta Leste. So watch this space. It's kind of it'll be great to see them back on track. And the other thing I should say before I get into it, I'll talk a bit more about it when we get back to the leaderboard. But the finishing time for Penjuic is provisional until penalties are applied, and there were no what I call normal penalties, like you're a bad boy or girl and you're going to get a penalty, but there is what we call scheduled penalties, and it relates to sail repairs in Auckland. And Penjuic had one sail, a declared sail they wanted to send to a sailmaker. That was approved. It's an automatic 12-hour time penalty, and that's now been applied. And some of the other boats also did the same thing, and that was all declared in one of the previous press releases. So there's a list there of the penalties that will be applied to each of the entrants once they get here if they've had that scheduled sail repair penalty of 12 hours per sail if the sail has to go to the loft for repair. So just bear that in mind. That impacts the final results. Anyway, let's head on over to the tracker and look at what's going on, and we'll go through the motions. Here we go. You've got it. I've got it. Hard to work on this in any large format because it's only top to bottom. Everyone's in a straight line now heading for Punta, so I'm going to do it in two sections. We'll come down here, first of all, to the tail enders, which is Sterner and Explorer. Here we go. We got the pictures up today as well. Explorer sent their Cape Horn pictures, and if you're wondering why Sterner didn't have any pictures of Cape Horn in their Cape Horn pictures, it's because it was too hard when they went around, and they did the pictures later. But and that's why it's so flat, calm, and all the rest of it. But they had the big celebration anyway, which is kind of cool. So here we go. Explorer through Stretcho de la Mer, now cut back to 6.4 knots. Not a lot of breeze there. You can see it's coming on the nose, but they did 283 mile day. That could be one of their longest days. There's a huge current going here, and they were doing 10.5 knots at one stage. So a big day, perfect weather for rounding, going around Cape Horn. They got it just as the sun was setting, so they saw it. That kept them all very happy. But now they've got the challenges the same as everyone else had to get north. Sterner doing 7.8, even though it's showing they're sitting in a hole, but that's not the case. They've done 124 mile day. Not huge, but that's how it's working because of the local weather. Translated had good weather over the side here when they pulled the boat out of the water. You may have seen the video. Got to remember not to speak too fast. So for now, let's just now look at the 2 days weather coming up for these guys and see what they're likely to experience. So that high is going to go over Sterner, and then they're into another, well, it's northeast, so that's not bad. They'll slowly hold that on starboard tack and be heading closing to the coast. For Explorer, they'll probably start off on port tack and start heading out here towards the Falklands on this one. So that's in the first 24 hours. It's absolute headwind, so it's not going to be fast. They'll be tacking there. So when it gets to this stage, coming to the northeast, Explorer will tack across and start heading out on starboard tack. They'll take it on port tack first, probably, then go out on starboard tack. Sterner will probably hold starboard all the way through on this. We'll just have to wait and see. But it's never easy when it's like this. They're going to be slow, relatively slow. But here we go, coming up into the 17th. Still basically and generically either light winds, so Explorer might get hooked up in this, but as soon as they get up there, it's headwinds, so they're going to have to work hard to climb north. So that's them. Then a bit further up here, we've got the next group. Now, how much can we show? We've got the whole lot here, so I'll put them over there, and then we can just walk through the fleet and see what they've been doing. Evrika, 7.3 knots, and they've managed 165 mile day. They've been straight lining it there for a while. They had the tacks down here, you can see, but now they've been following the wind shift, so not too bad there. White Shadow still doing quite well, 4.8 knots going to windward. They were alongside Outlaw, so you can see in the last 24 hours that's basically the distance that they've lost because of their forestay. So it's probably cost them 70 miles. They should be going a lot faster, but they have no forestay, so that's solving that issue. But anyway, they're still safe, and they've done 117 mile day, 4.8 knots. Outlaw, 187 mile day, 8.5 knots, heading in the general direction, so there's no problem there. It's forward of the beam, and it'll be a bit wet, but it's still the right direction. Galliana with Secure, not looking good, 4.1 knots and 135 mile day. That's really poor. But they're alongside l'Esprit de Keep, much bigger boat, and l'Esprit de Keep is doing 6.8 and did 141 mile day. And they're going to be struggling. This is where Penjuic have scooped the pool a bit, because these guys slowing down here is giving them a better chance at getting closer to the IRC. But now that we've put the 12-hour time penalty on there for their sail repairs, that might balance it out, but let's wait and see. So Triana, unusually only doing 5.1 knots. They're usually then pretty quick, and they've done 134 miles in the last 24 hours. We just sent them an alert because I just found out that they're not an alert, not a weather alert. I just found out that they haven't been using their radio at all on any of the voluntary chat sessions, but more importantly, they haven't been coming up on the mandatory buddy chat sessions. So I've warned them. I've said, you better start using your radio, otherwise we'll require a full test and recertification, because we're not sure whether their radio is simply not working or whether they're just listening into everyone else and not participating, just sailing dark ship, so no one knows where they are and what they're doing. But the reality is they must communicate on their allocated buddy chat session to make sure the radio's working and keep people in touch with each other via radio in case all the comms fail. So hopefully they will do some of that before they get to Punta. 5.1 knots, 134 mile day. We've done that. So Neptune, 4.9 knots and 80 mile day. Not a lot, but you can see why. It's pretty self-explanatory. This big high has just cracked the breeze, and there's nothing there, and they're just drifting along. They'll be enjoying the rest, but they'll be frustrated because it's party time in port, and without that, they can't do anything. There's lots of things waiting for them in port, so there you go. Anyway, it's funny, they're all right on the run line here, just sitting there all going port tack. So you can see then, Spirit of Helsinki, we haven't got the tracks on, I should put the tracks there so you can see where they've been going. You can see here, they've been playing around with each other basically. Maiden came right across, didn't want to get too far down, gone across on port tack, holding to the run line, which is actually a smart move, and it's going to make them come quicker because later on, this headwind is going to go to the northeast, and when it does go to the northeast sometime tomorrow, if they're not in by then, it's better to be either on the run line or even a little bit over from it. Because if they had a cut going and get over here, and the wind goes northeast, they then have to battle all the way back again. So I don't know whether they realise it. Maybe they do. That's why they're heading across here, but it's a good move. It'll get them here earlier. So they may arrive in the dark tomorrow or at very early hours. So Maiden is 6.6 knots and 130 nautical mile a day, and Spirit of Helsinki right underneath them is 7 knots and 118 mile a day. So pretty much trying to cover each other, I think. So if we then look at while we're here, I'll forget that for a minute, see if we can look at the actual weather. Everyone here. Okay, so there's, you can see, I'm not going to show you Punta del Este. Punta del Este is right there just at the end of the line, so I want to get maximum distance here. Now we're going to click the weather through and see what's happening. In fact, I'm going to leave Spirit of Helsinki and Maiden out of this and just see if I can get everyone else but them. Where are we? Yep, I can. No, I can't. Bugger. Much easier when we go the other way. So I will shrink it back and let's see what the weather's going to do. Okay, so here we go. We're not moving. I'll click it up here. Okay, so Maiden and Helsinki have got headwinds. They do pick up a bit. They're getting stronger. Generally, this northerly airflow is going to hold, and these guys have got not a lot of wind out east of the course now, and that will start to increase as it comes across, but very slowly. It's decreasing. Okay, the highs got thicker. So here we come to 24 hours. So nothing really changed for this part of the fleet. Nothing really changed at all. But you can see here, the wind has swung around from more northerly or north of northeast to absolutely a northeasterly. In fact, it looks like it's going south of, it's going east of northeast. It's really, and when that happens, they get a straight line into Punta del Este. But I'll enlarge that in a minute and just show you how the thinking on the ETA is going to work. So yeah, very much still generally headwinds, generally frustrating, slow sailing, and that's going to impact a few of them. There's a couple of days into it already. Up the top, it's got very much more east in it than it has down the bottom. Down the bottom here, you've got through the middle, you've got a northerly, and on the other side, it's coming around to the south-southeast even. So you can see that arc happening because it's the South Atlantic high going across the Atlantic now towards Cape Town, and that's what's causing the whole thing. There it is there. That's the big high pressure that's happening. And looking up here, there's not much in the way of trade winds, and there's a huge doldrums. But that should be gone. That'll be less likely to be there in 3 to 4 weeks 3 weeks when they start. So don't despair yet. Anyway, struggling for the rest of the fleet. Now I'm going to have a good look at Maiden and Spirit of Helsinki just to work out timelines and what they're doing. But already I can see it's going to be a bit better than what I thought just hours ago. I assume they may have kept heading up here for a bit before they came across, and by the swing, and then battle to come back. So I've been thinking it may be an ETA of about sort of 6-7 o'clock in the morning. It may be a lot quicker than that now. So let's just start again from back here. We'll look at their distance to go. They're both the same. So they're talking 80 miles from Punta del Este. You can see if 80 miles away, if they were doing 8 knots in a direct line, it's only 10 hours. It's 1 o'clock here, so that means it'll be 11 o'clock at night or just before midnight. But that's not going to happen because they're not going to go straight up yet. So if it is going to move around to the northeast, they may be able to hold one leg and sail straight up. So we'll just start pushing this through. The wind is filling in, so it's getting stronger, but it's still there. It's going to go close. They're holding on Port Tack at the moment, but you can see here the wind is going to swing. So as soon as it's gone light, it's light to 10:30. So at the moment, just to remind me, we're 16:30 on the 15th. So 16:30 on the 15th. So it's gone light. So that's slow headwinds. That looks very light. It's probably down to 8-9 knots. So they're only going to be doing 5 knots or so. But it's still very hard to pick this because by the time you get here, when it starts to fill in, which is on the 16th, that's tomorrow. It's already happened and gone. It's all over by then. So it's not going to get that far. They're only 80 miles away. So, it looks like this change might not reach them in time. If that's the case and they're tacking all the way up, they may not make it there until 9-10 o'clock tomorrow morning. But the short story is all we can do here is monitor the situation. I give it a call sometime tomorrow morning. They're going to come in. It's they're only at 4 o'clock. They're 80 miles away. Only 80 miles, but there's no way they're going to make 8 knots in a direct course. And even if they did, that would be 10 hours. So that's midnight. So yeah, they're going to. They won't better that by 6 hours. So it's going to be first light tomorrow at the earliest. I'll update that situation at 5:30 local time. It's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9:30, 19:30. No, 9. So that's going to be 21:30 hours UTC. I will update the estimated time of arrival for Maiden and Spirit of Helsinki, and we'll see what's happening. But it's looking like first light tomorrow morning. So back to the leaderboard. We know you can see the rankings. That's straightforward. You just look at the list. But IRC is going to get interesting because now I believe it's supposed to have been applied, and I can't see the asterisk there. These times are provisional. Refer to the race website for all times UTC. So I think it's been added, but it hasn't been calculated yet. 37.21. So still holding third. So we'll just hold my breath on that. I know Georgie sent it through this morning, but it might not have been tabulated. So it's 12-hour time difference coming on there. So at the moment, Triana is still on 55.21. And Penjuic is 37.21. So there's 2 days difference there. And I'd say that means that the time penalty has been applied because yesterday it was only 1 day and a bit. So I think it's there, but there's meant to be an asterisk to say that penalties have been applied for Penjuic. So I can't see the asterisk. Never mind. The Galliana would secure 37.2 hours, holding second place currently at the moment. I think they'll probably hold that. So maybe Penjuic will remain there because Triana and Galliana had no sail time penalties from leg 3. So they're clean. Neptune, I forget, but we released the time penalties in a previous press release, so that should give you an idea of what's happening with the who's getting penalties. Okay, scheduled penalties to be added. Okay, so watch that space. It'll become clearer as we get there. That's pretty much all we've got for there. So I'm going to come back here and say good day to a few people. See who's here. And thanks again to the lighthouse keeper at Cape Horn. It was good of him to send that shot of Explorer. So even though it's a fudge in the distance. So, hey Kathleen, technical plan from Translated is impressive. They're onto it, and they've got a plan. There was a few little hiccups last night, which I won't talk about yet, but it's all looking good. I'm confident we're going to see them. It's exciting to have them back in the race when they get here. The ETA is the big one. So g'day Jenny, glad good one. Explorer's gone. Checking in from West Island. G'day Virgo. Cheers from Mountain South California. Aren't the boats still required to fly flags and banners for sponsors when departing and riding? Yes, they are. If you don't fly you don't fit your lee cloths, cockpit lee cloths at the start or finish, it's a €1,500 penalty for the start and another €1,500 for the finish. And if you don't fly the sponsor flags, it's another €1,500. They were all doubled. So some boats missed the start in Auckland. And, let's wait to see who doesn't fly flags here. There was also a requirement for Cape Horn, if they had the ability to do it, to put their lee cloths and fly their flags. Many did, some didn't. So yeah, there will be a reckoning here. And it's unfortunate because we don't do this. I've said this so many times. McIntyre Adventure sells nothing. We've got nothing to sell. So we're the underwriter of the event, and we've been doing that since the last 20 years nearly, supporting people, running events and stuff like that. We'd prefer to have a sponsor. And part of the deal there is if we had a sponsor, imagine we had Rolex, right? And we said to Rolex, look, you give me €52 million and I'll put your name here and we'll do some great things. 52 mil is really cool. And we tell them that the entrants are going to cross the line and they're going to have the flags and the banners and they're going to get exposure on the photos and this and that. And then entrants don't do it. It's really embarrassing. Not only that, it's commercially not appropriate. So we've been increasing the penalties. If we let them get away with it at the beginning, and then we said, look, you guys are going to go have penalties. We told them verbally, we told them in writing, and they still didn't do it. And so we put the penalties there and we doubled the penalties in Auckland because some still didn't do it. And guess what? Some still aren't doing it. So it's unfortunate, but we have a responsibility to the sponsors we currently don't have, and we are enforcing that as black and white. So, anyway, I digress. So I'm watching Maiden Breath. Yeah, they're doing really well. As I said before, I wouldn't expect Maiden to be able to hold their own to Windward against Spirit of Helsinki, but they are. So it's very impressive for the girls there. They're doing a great job. G'day, Jonathan. We've gone through that. Happy for Explorer. Yep, done that. Nelly, hi. So much happening. Yeah, it's all on. And plenty of stories. I did an interview for a French film crew here this morning talking about how it's so human. This event is shaping up to do everything we ever hoped, recreating the Whitbread feel for the human story of people racing around the world in a big adventure and Cape Horn and all that sort of stuff. It's really... I know it's inspiring a lot of people, and we're very proud of the whole fleet, so it's cool. Mark's going to get frequent fly miles from multiple Cape Horn roundings. Yep, that's his. No, it's only his second time now. He did once in 2000. Finishing 2018, he did one, and this is his next one. So cool. Okay. Okay, that's it. So we will see you all tomorrow. Thanks for that. And follow the tweets. They're really cool. I love the tweets from the boats. They're very cool. See you later.